All right. I'd like to take this opportunity and to discuss question number 4 on your chapter 4 homework. Okay. A company is considering whether to buy a regular or a color photocopier for the office. All right. So we're comparing these two things. The cost of the regular machine is 10,000. The lifespan is 5 years. The company has to pay another 1,500 annually in maintenance costs. Okay, that's the regular machine. Now, the color one price is actually 30,000. Okay, lifespan is also 5 years. Right, so this makes our life a lot simpler. Later, we can actually discuss what happens if two projects actually have different lifespan. All right, and the annual maintenance cost is 4,500 for the color one, and the color one is going to generate the revenue by $8,500 additional annually. All right. So let's say the company is profitable and pay 40% tax rate. All right. And the discount rate is 11%. So the question is, does the company want to buy the regular one or the color one? Okay. So this is really comparing about. All right. So let me analyze this a little bit. Okay. All right. You need to compare the regular versus color machine, okay, or photocopy. All right. So if you recall, earlier in chapter 3, we discussed the option of buying versus leasing, and our methodology in that chapter is to compare the differential cash flows, or the cash flows from buying minus the cash flows from leasing, and then we convert the option of leasing into a loan. All right, so now you're comparing these two options. You might want to actually think about the same approach, because it's not just about buying the regular computer or buying the color computer alone. It's about comparing these two options. So we're going to look at we're going to examine the difference, okay, between, all right, the color and the regular one. Okay, in other words, if I actually take the regular one, do I want to actually invest in the incremental project that allows me to go from regular one to color one? Okay, so that is the mindset. All right, so I'm going to look at essentially, need to examine or need to calculate the NPV of the incremental project that is going from the regular to the color one. Okay, so let's say if you take the regular one and now you're actually going from the regular to the color one, that is a capital budgeting project. If that's a positive NPV project, yes, I'm going to take one more step and go from regular to color one. And if that capital budgeting project is a negative NPV project, then no, I'm going to stick with the regular machine. All right. So I'm going to build a timeline here, and this is actually for 5 years. So I'm going to build a 5-year timeline. All right, and I'm going to look at the differential cash flows. Okay. So I'm going to look at, first of all, what is the differential investment. All right, so now we're saying if you go with the regular one, you're going to invest 10,000. And if you go with the color one, well, the color one is actually more expensive by 20,000. So the differential investment is going to be 20,000. Okay, and now I'm going to look at, the other, cash flows in year 1 to 5 for this, incremental projects. Okay, so let's look at, first of all the difference, differential, annual cost. Okay, actually I should say, first of all, let's look at the increase in the revenue. All right, so this is actually additional revenue. Okay, so every year, if you use the color one, it's going to increase by 8,500. All right, so that's the additional revenue. Now, if you look at the additional cost, the regular one is going to cost 1,500, The color one is going to actually cost the 4,500. So that's a difference of 3,000, right? I should say 4,500 minus 1,500. Okay, all right. That's the differential annual cost. And if that's the case, I can actually start thinking about. By the way, we also need to look at the differential depreciation. Right, differential annual depreciation. So I'm going to look at the depreciation for the color one. That's 30,000. All right, we're doing the streamline depreciation unless otherwise specified. Okay, 30,000 over 5 years. All right, so that is the annual depreciation for the color one. And now we do 10,000 over 5 years. So that's the depreciation for the regular one. All right, so if that's the case, then the differential depreciation is actually $4,000. All right, so now I can actually start thinking about what is the annual cash flow for this incremental project. Okay, if I go from the regular one to the color one, every year I'm going to actually earn more. All right, that's 8,500. But then I have to knock off the annual cost, that's 3,000, and then I have to take out depreciation, all right, whatever that is. Okay, so that's going to be my earnings before interest and tax. And now I'm actually start paying tax, and that is 40% tax rate. Okay, so because I took out depreciation, so now I need to put back depreciation for this incremental project. All right, so that gives me 4,900. Right, and I'm going to lock down all this, cell reference here because I want to be able to copy across. Okay, all right. So that is telling me every year I'm going to actually have a cash flow of 4,900 if I go from the regular one to the color one. Right. So now I'm going to I should actually say this is a little confusing here. I should say differential cash flows. Okay. All right. So the differential investment is 20,000 negative, and that is the return. If you go with the color one based on the regular one. All right. So I can look at the PV of the incremental project. All right. So in this case, I'm doing the PV function here. The rate is 11%, and the values are the cash flows in the future. And I need to put back the initial investment. So if I do that, I get 1,000. Oops. I get 1,891 $90. Okay, so the incremental project of going from regular to color is a negative MPV project. Okay. All right. So that means the decision is to stick with the regular one. All right. In other words, it's not worth it. All right. So this is actually very similar to the differential cash flows for the for buying versus leasing. All right. The loan you're taking out is actually too expensive, so you don't want to actually go with the leasing option. All right, so you want to stick with buying. All right, so in this case, if you go from regular to colored one, it's a negative MPV project, so you don't want to do that. All right, so I hope this is useful. I'll stop the video here.